3 centuries ago, at the dawn of the pact of Turiya, in the post-Concordium era, the world of Pagram was still whole, though not for long. It was divided into many fractured kingdoms and nation-states, but it was at peace. In Bant, magically nourished crops flourished under the watchful eye of the tower. Men had begun to master the power of not just magic, but steam and coal. Strange tracked machines tirelessly carried goods from one side of the empire to the other, linking its furthest reaches. There were even plans to drive the brass road across the desert of Aden, to better trade with the Easterners who lived in the green fields of Iori. Modern historians will say that after centuries of rule, the line of Malin had become languid, and that the old empire of Bant drowned in bureaucracy and corruption. We do know, however, in hindsight, that the match which burned the old world was lit by the herald of the devourer. His foretelling words whispered through hearth, hall, and palace alike. Perhaps through unlucky chance of fate, Gwyleth Malin, the last empress of Bant, had been deposed by a quorum of the guilds, and the humans and elves of Thalwyn placed a blooded boy on the throne of Bant. Though blooded as he was of House Bantius and the line of Emerus IV and Chaldeus, he was merely 11 years old when the full authority of the realm was placed upon his tiny shoulders. The other western kingdoms would not yield to his lordship, and thus, instead of becoming an emperor, the boy was merely a king. When the devouring flood rose out of the sea, the kingdom of Bant was struck first. They say the Tower of Ghent crumbled, and the city of Spemfar was obliterated. Thousands perished in an instant, the first of them blinking out of existence as though the weave itself had turned against mankind. Overwhelmed, the young king remembered what he read as a child, that the Yamato clan would save them, that the Eastern Empire would always heed the call of their oldest ally. He ordered his people to evacuate. "Everyone must go. Go east, to Tianshan. Their ancient wall will save us." And go they did. So many of them fled east by their ruler's command that whole villages were abandoned, all of them following the purple banner of their boy king. Though he disagreed with his lord, Marius of House Trevine felt honor-bound to march his legions with their king, leaving his heirs behind to defend Thalwyn itself. It is said that the sons of Marius were so ferocious in their resolve to defend Thalwyn that the Dark Messiah had their skulls placed upon the pommels of his throne when he finally broke them. To this day in the throne lands of Bant, when someone shows unfaltering loyalty and bravery, they are called a son of Marius. When the survivors reached the ancient walls of Tianshan, no Yamato rode out to meet them. They waited in the great green fields of Iori, so named after the legendary general who had defended Bant in ages past. They waited for a messenger on the ramparts, but there would be no fabled mongoose general to save them on that day. Instead, a foul elf stood there, a prince of the Duladon. "This is the land of Zin," he said with laughter, "and you are not welcome." A whisper went through the throng of refugees that lasted for miles, a whisper that became panic. Towards the end of the line, the panic turned into screams. Those screams gave way to a stampede of terror. While they waited, the devouring flood had found them. They knew, trapped between a sea of monsters and an impervious wall guarded by an ancient enemy, the end had come. The Duladon say that the last human king cried and begged as his people bloodied their hands against the ancient wall. They watched, perhaps with glee, as Marius and his men drowned in a black flood of teeth and bone, struggling to defend the weeping boy. All their foul plans had come to fruition, and now the world would be ruled by the damned. Millions died on the plain. Their skulls left to rot in piles, a grim triumph for the Zin.
The wall held, and having been fed, the tide moved on. The once great fields of Iori are now known as the Skull Plains on account of this. This is just one place. Stories like this exist all over Pagram, as the world that was perished under a tide of darkness.